TikTok. We got a big-time vote today on that future. It could affect, by some estimates, up to 100 million Americans, at least how they access social media. The House is taking up a bill today requiring the popular app to separate from its parent company or face a ban in these United States. TikTok's owner, ByteDance, is based in China, which means it could, and some say would, be subject to the dictates, the whims of the Chinese government. But TikTok is not just a way for young people to pass the time. TikTok influencers staged a protest
Congress always doing shit nobody asked for.
Many of them rely on the app for their livelihoods. This is how they make their living. Scott McFarland is on Capitol Hill for us. He's following all this. Scott, a lot to say on every side of this. Good morning.
Hey, Tony, good morning. This bill Congress is voting on singles out TikTok, but it could expand to impact other apps controlled by foreign adversaries. President Biden has signed the measure, so there are millions of TikTok users, including those who earn their income through the app, who are on edge.
A lot of people are relying on TikTok right now.
TikTok influencer JT Laybourne of Utah makes a living on the platform, selling apparel.
It is 90+% of my family's income.
Born with a heart condition.
For the first time in like 36 years, my heart actually functions.
And he also talks cardiac health to his nearly 2 million followers.
I've had people come up to me in public and give me a hug and cry on my shoulder and say that you will never understand what your videos mean to me.
TikTok has mobilized Laybourne and others to fight a bill poised for approval today in the U.S. House, requiring TikTok to divest or separate from its China-based owner, ByteDance, or face a ban within months.
ByteDance is controlled by the Chinese Communist Party.
Just real quick, I thought when they had that testimony a few months back, it was established that the CEO is a Singaporean citizen. And his company is Singaporean, but it has ties back to China. I don't know if China owns anything of his company. But again, I'm watching CBS, so of course the truth is not going to be in here. But let's hear what he got to say.
Democratic Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy is a sponsor of the bipartisan bill, which cites national security concerns.
Oh, national security.
As well as CCP. Have access to tremendous amounts of personal data.
House Republican leaders and the White House have already endorsed the plan, and a key committee approved the bill 50-0 last week. The final hurdle could be former President Trump, who once threatened to ban TikTok, but now opposes the bill, saying it would shift too much influence to Facebook, which once banned him. Trump also acknowledges a recent meeting with GOP megadonor Jeff Yoss, a major investor in TikTok, who, according to a CBS News review, has donated millions to conservative-led groups.
Any conservative lawmaker who is thinking about supporting a bill to ban TikTok has to take into account that they are going to run afoul of the interests of one of the Republican Party's top donors.
What?
Yoss declined to comment to CBS News. TikTok has blasted this bill, saying it tramples First Amendment rights, and China has said the legislation would come back to bite the U.S. Even if it passes the U.S. House, though, Gail, it might still be a heavy lift to pass the U.S. Senate.
LP channel, Lucid Perspective, we're back. It is Wednesday, March 13, 2024. TikTok, this TikTok ban, this is one of those things, right? Nobody's asking for this. Not a single soul. It's almost every time Congress is doing something, they're doing something nobody asked for. The things that people ask for, the things that people actually need in this country, Congress has no words for. There's no bills passed. There's just contention back and forth. One side wants to do it, the other side fights it to the death. When it comes to a TikTok ban, all of a sudden it's bipartisan, everybody's on the same page. This is how you know Congress isn't for the people, because nobody's asking for this. Now, we could break this down a few different ways to try to dissect why they may want this ban. I've heard a few theories. Well, I'm just going to talk about two, maybe one. The first one is, as you saw with the guy here who was a TikTok influencer, money, right? There are people making livable wages, selling content, selling retail, selling merchandise, that are actually able to leave the 9-to-5 rat race and go independent, making money off TikTok. off TikTok, enough to support themselves and their families. This is generally something that politicians in the elites in Congress, for some reason, don't fuck with, right? When the people in mass, when the people don't need government, that is a problem for these guys. They need you to want them, to need them, to be dependent on them. So there is that angle, right? There's the angle of successful independent businesses, small business, content creators, retailers, people that are able to break away from the seemingly, right, from the matrix slave system, work for themselves through this app. I'm on TikTok, but I have not sold anything or monetized in any way yet. I don't know the comparisons as far as if TikTok pays more than other platforms. I've been hearing that it does. I know Facebook pays out for content, obviously YouTube, Instagram, there's other platforms, but I haven't heard. I think I have actually heard that those don't pay as well as TikTok, right? I know Twitch had something. They pulled back on some of their paid programs and it hurt a lot of people. Facebook is back and forth, paying, not paying, changing things around. And YouTube has a huge threshold to monetize. So it could be, and again, I don't know. If you're out there and you know, let me know. TikTok pays more. It pays very well. And there's more incentive there for users to go to TikTok to make a living. That could be the case. I believe that is so. I don't know for sure. So there's that angle. The push for Congress to ban TikTok is because too many people are becoming financially independent and they don't need these government programs. They don't need to work a 9 to 5. They're just becoming sole proprietors, selling online, making a few posts a day, and possibly changing their lifestyle through this app. I believe that is one angle. That's what they talked about in this article. The other side of that coin, which I believe to possibly be more of a reason for Congress to do this, is the information that you can find on TikTok. Before I jump to that, let me cover a little bit of the Congress's reasoning, right? So their main reason for this is the data, big data of the public. They're acting as if they care about the American public and our personal data. That right there, that entire line, that whole premise of the reason for this Congress ban, if you got a brain on your head, you understand that that's bullshit. They do not care about your data. How do we know this? Well, because Facebook steals your data. Instagram steals your data. Twitter has your data. Google obviously has your data. Amazon has your data. There are so many American corporations and institutions that do this data siphoning, data ingestion from the American public for their own benefit, right? So to say that they care about the American public's personal data is one of the most egregious things you can say because it's such bullshit. And they're playing the national security, foreign intelligence angle of it, acting as if they want to protect us from foreign adversaries, from China taking our data. News hint, this is 2024. Everybody's data is out there. No matter who's getting it. America has it. Chinese have it. Russia has it. Other countries have it. Data is being pilfered from servers all the time and sold to the highest bidder all the time. The big data bullshit is just bullshit. It doesn't make sense. It is not the reason. I promise you it's not the reason. Promise you. That's one of their fugazi, that's their red herring reasons that they use to try to gain support. Oh, we care about the American public. They're stealing your data. That's not a thing. You could look up anybody's address nowadays. You could look up social security numbers. Corporations are getting hacked all the time. If you've had a cell phone and used a cell phone at any capacity over the past 5 to 6 years, your information is out there. Google, Amazon, Yahoo, Bing, AI, it is out there. Data is not their concern, I promise you. Now, moving on to the second issue. TikTok is a platform where people can speak their mind. They can almost post whatever they want, have freedom of thought, freedom of speech, talk about conspiracies, talk about opinions, talk about theories, talk about ideas. You can find information such as flat earth theories. You can find information on aliens, UFOs. You can find spiritual information. You can find gematria. You can find conspiracy theories. You can find, there's all this information. Whether you believe it or not is irrelevant. It's just freedom of speech. People being able to discuss ideas back and forth, agree, disagree, have discourse, talk about it, whatever. Something that is promoted on TikTok for the most part that you can't do on YouTube, Instagram, definitely not Facebook. You all know that. All these other platforms, all these American platforms, they just don't allow freedom of speech in this way. Now, there is Rumble, and X has gotten better since Elon took it. That's a fact. You can't fight it. Since Elon took over X or Twitter, it's been more open to both sides, which is a good thing. But TikTok has a lot of information, conspiracies, things that are being pushed and talked about, shared for people to be more open to other ideas, even for news. You know, they got Gaza stuff up there. They have conspiracies about world events, history, all of that. Now, I personally believe Congress, or at least the powers that be, their main concern, they don't care about your data. I've already proven that. They don't care about your data. They have the data. They're really more concerned about information that they don't want to be out there being spread. They don't want people entertaining new ideas, new thoughts, alternative history facts, conspiracy theories that turn out to be true. We've been seeing that the past few years. This Congress bill is an information blockage. It's an attempt to stop certain information from getting out. I personally feel like they may be trying to get ahead of something. Maybe there's an event later this year that's going to happen that they're trying to get ahead of, because said event is going to happen. And if platforms like TikTok are still around, people can talk freely about it and maybe give alternative viewpoints. I also feel like this TikTok ban is a segue to also getting rid of Rumble, also getting rid of X, and any other platforms out there that promote free speech. BitChute is one. There's a handful of others. So if they can get rid of TikTok, boom, they can move on to the next. From a business standpoint, if you want to look at the dynamics of competition, TikTok is a huge competitor for Facebook, for Instagram, for even Twitter, for other social media platforms. And if you knock out the competition, who are people going to generally flock to? They have no choice. If TikTok is gone, they're going to go to Facebook. They're going to go back to YouTube. They're going to go back to Instagram. So there's different angles that this is happening with, but I personally believe it's more so on the information that is shared on TikTok. Me personally, I did not want to get on TikTok. I got on TikTok for my podcast. I felt like it was a necessary evil. But since I've been on TikTok and I've seen the value of information that's on there, right? And again, it's all algorithm based. So if you're not searching this type of stuff, if you're up there for business, you're going to mostly see business. If you're up there for learning, you're going to learn. If you're up there for selling, you're going to be seeing selling content. So there is an algorithm there at play, which tends to stick to what your preferences are. So not everybody's seeing the same things on TikTok. I can guarantee you that. But anyway, I got on there for the podcast. I was very reluctant. I didn't want to do it. When I did it, I saw the information up there and I'm stuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm on TikTok almost every day. I promote podcast. I promote my content. I haven't gone to selling yet. I'm going to do that soon, hopefully. But I can see why people like it. You got to also admit, if Congress is ever bipartisan on any kind of issue, if Congress is working together on something, it's not for the people, basically is what I'm trying to say. This is supposedly a bipartisan thing. Dems and Republicans on the same side. That means it's not for us. It's actually something to hinder us. So I call bullshit on the reasoning behind the whole fucking China data, national security. And technically, in theory, they're already taking care of it, right? They banned the app from federal agencies from being used on government property, which is fine. You could do that. That's your property. Government property, federal agencies, you ban the app. Okay, great. If it was a true national security issue and that was a cause of concern for you, you did that. You handled that. People's personal devices, I don't see how this has anything to do with national security. You know what I'm saying? A personal device is a personal device. You got all these other apps on there siphoning information from it doesn't make sense. This is about suppressing information. This is about suppressing awakening. And personally, I feel like they're going to fail. I don't know. I feel like it's not going to pass the Senate, but I don't know. Who knows? Again, they could be trying to get ahead of something, some events that's supposed to happen sometime this year. So I don't know. I don't support a TikTok ban. I fuck with TikTok. Whether it's going to pass or not, I don't know. We have yet to see. Check out Figuring Conspiracy Shit Out show. We're going to have an episode this Friday where we're talking more in depth on TikTok and the conspiracies on TikTok that we feel Congress is really trying to suppress and oppress. So check that out. We're on Rumble exclusively. Every now and then we put on YouTube, but YouTube doesn't like this conspiracy stuff. So check out rumble.com/figuring conspiracy shit out. Every Friday, me, my boy King Arthur, and Hero, we talk about conspiracy. So please check that out. Also, Figuring Shit Out podcast. We talk about business, CEOs, and escaping the rat race. And this is LP. So that's today's video. Appreciate you guys for listening. What do you think? Do you think Congress really cares about the ban or about the data that China's siphoning from us? Is that the main angle? Do you feel like it's because they want to hurt businesses and too many people are not working regular jobs and they want to bring people back into corporate America and work the slave jobs? Or do you feel like it's the information angle? There's a lot of information up there that's being talked about. They don't want that shit getting out. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And again, please like, share, subscribe. I appreciate you guys. I will see you tomorrow.